Salawat. I'd now like to invite Brother Aqeel to come forward and pay his tribute to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Please welcome him with the last salawat.
Salawat. The moon glistens in the bare night sky. Something bright and shimmering catches my eye. This moon is not the one that you and I know. This moon surpasses that through its beauty and glow. This moon was the one that brought light into my life. It was this moon that rid the darkness and plight. The moon that showed me to never give up is the law. The moon that is Abbas, loyal and brave to the core. Abbas, the man who showed no fear, not even a rattle. The one who moves like Ali, they called you his shadow in battle. To be Ali's army in one person was your ultimate goal. Never have I seen a man with no arms pull the world to his soul. Abbas, there is only one of you, so pure and so rare. You even frightened the brave Malik al-Ashtar when he saw your stare. A true man of your word, and all I ever hoped to be. Just to get off your horse and draw your sword was enough for your enemies to flee. For the arms that you lost, God has gifted you wings. You braved the stormiest of weathers and the worst of winds. You laid your life down, but not for materialistic things. You did this for your master and took whatever life brings. Writing about you, my words get lost in your essence and mystic. How do I even find the words that do justice to your justice? The one who stood atop the Kaaba and made people's hearts sway, who warned them if they touched your brother, you would kill them like an eagle clutches its prey. The one who tells his own soul not to be scared or afraid. The one who mastered his own soul and looked beyond his body of clay. The one who resisted the temptation to take a sip or a drink. The one who stared death in its eye and didn't even blink. The son of Fatima, and these are not my words, this is her claim, we come to you in flocks and in herds. The one who stayed on the truth and was never one-sided. It was the day I met Abbas, I knew I was rightly guided. Salawat.
Thank you very much, Brother Aqeel. Firstly, for a very, very last minute sort of agreeing to recite your poetry, and obviously the tribute that you've paid to Mawla Abbas alayhi salam. May Bab al-Hawaij accept, inshallah, and in fact he has already accepted. So thank Brother Aqeel by reciting a loud salawat. Today's Majlis for the Martydom of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam and the emissary of Imam al-Hussain, Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqeel, has been organized under the auspices of the Manchester Community and Youth Project. We're a local organization here to Manchester working to empower the local youth and the Mu'mineen living here, as well as addressing issues of poverty and social justice, both here in the UK as well as in our countries of Pakistan, Iraq, etc. We have various projects to alleviate poverty. In these days, for example, to offer your qurbanis and things like that. So if you wish to participate or hear about any of our projects, I don't have a presentation today, but you can come to talk to me or Brother Tatir, and from the sister side, Sister Hina or Sister Shazia, and they can tell you about some of the work, the charity work that we do. We have the enormous privilege and honor this year to be holding the community-wide, I guess, Majlis for Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam in the coming month of Muharram, where inshallah we will be hosting Sayyid Mahdi al-Mudarrisi for 12 sets of programs starting on the 7th of July till the 17th of July. We predict, forecast that Ashura most likely will be on the 17th of July. These programs, inshallah, will be held at the Sheraton, which is a big banqueting suite up in North Manchester, and we're expecting all of you, inshallah, to attend and participate and pay your tribute to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in the month of Muharram, inshallah. So it'll be an honor for us to host, and it'll be an honor for us to have you participating in those programs. What I would say, as I was saying to the volunteers downstairs, is that it's not us that's choosing, it's Allah who has chosen, and us for the love of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. So we, in that sense, should feel privileged about it. So if you wish to volunteer, then think of it as actually God planting that seed in your mind and choosing you to come into the service of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Salawat. I'd now be honored if my brother Sayyid Khamis Abbas Rizvi comes up and recites and pays his tribute to the holy personalities. Please welcome him with a loud salawat. Sorry.
With Qibla's ijazat, permission, I would like to start off with a rubai and a few. My brother Aqeel recited beautiful words of poetry about the moon, and it's inspired me to read something about the moon. I say it's inspired me, the kalam is not mine, but I do want to read that. Please, a loud salawat. رسول پاک کا میری طرف سلام آیا رسول پاک کا میری طرف سلام آیا میری زبان پہ جس دم علی کا نام آیا میری زبان پہ جس دم علی کا نام آیا رسول پاک کا میری طرف سلام آیا علی کا نام ہی اعظم وہ اس میں اعظم ہے علی کا نام ہی اعظم وہ اس میں اعظم ہے کہ جس کسی نے پکارا اسی کے کام آیا اللہم صلی علی ہے چاند کربلا کے ہے چاند کربلا
بلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے ہے چاند کربلا کے ہے چاند جلوہ گر ہے ہاشم کا چاند یہاں پر ہے چاند جلوہ گر ہے ہاشم کا چاند یہاں پر خیرات روشنی کی لے لیجیو یہاں سے اے چاند کربلا کے اے چاند اس زمین پر رکھیو ہمیشہ ٹھنڈک ہے چاند اس زمین پر رکھیو ہمیشہ ٹھنڈک سوتے جو ہیں یہاں پر زہرا کے ہیں یہ پیارے اے چاند تسلیم و سلسبیلو کوثر کے ہیں یہ مالک مارے گئے جو پیاسے اس نہر کے کنارے اے چاند کربلا کے مارے گئے یہیں پر بے دردیوں ستم سے مارے گئے یہیں پر بے دردیوں ستم سے زینب کے دونوں پیارے مسلم کے دونوں بیٹے اے چاند کربلا کے پامال ہو رہی تھی قاسم کی لاش رن میں عباس اور سرور چنتے تھے ان کے ٹکڑے اے چاند بازو کٹے یہیں پر عباس با وفا کے इज़्ने बगा न पाया, पानी भिला न पाए। ऐ चाँद करबला के, तूने तो देखे होंगे, उतरे थे इस ज़मीं पर अर्शे बरी के तारे। है चाँद करबला के। अल्लाहुम्मा
Thank you, Brother Khamis. Allah bless you for that moving and powerful tribute to Sayyid al-Shuhada, Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, in the words of the poet of Ahlul Bayt, the martyr, Shaheed Sayyid Sibte Jaffer, whose kalam that you were reading. Thank you very much. Please thank him by reciting a loud salawat. Makkah, 12th of September, 680 AD, the first day of Hajj, the 8th day of Zul Hijjah, the day of Tarwiyah, the day of fetching water and quenching the thirst. For the last 4 months, from Sha'ban till Zul Hijjah, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam has been living in the old house of his great-grandfather Abdul Muttalib in Makkah. 30 men enter Al-Haram. They don the purity of the white, but there is a festering darkness in their hearts. They carry weapons concealed in their garments. Their mission is to assassinate the grandson of the Holy Prophet. How terrible is it that the sanctuary of peace, where even an insect cannot be killed, is no longer a place of security for Imam al-Hussein, the rightful custodian of the Haram. The assassins are out in the city, looking for an opportunity to kill Hussein. Hussein wishes to avoid the shedding of his pure and innocent blood in the holy sanctuary. He wishes for this place of peace to remain a place of peace. Perhaps he recalls Ibrahim removing Ismail from the precincts of the Haram to Mina for his sacrifice. Or perhaps it is the people of Iraq that have called him. Hussein has seen his grandfather in a dream. Destiny awaits him. Martyrdom calls out. He breaks his ihram and he leaves Makkah. Upon leaving Makkah, he delivers an emotional sermon. Death is inscribed on Adam's children like a necklace on a girl's neck. My passion to be reunited with my ancestors is like that of Yaqub for Yusuf, and the demise I shall soon meet is better for me. I see my limbs being torn by the speeding steeds in the desert between Al-Nawawis and Karbala. A few people stand up to join him. Many more just watch him leave. Many warn him and dissuade him from traveling. Laddak, the Umayyad poet, meets him on the way and wishes him well. But most people just carry on with their Hajj, a decision they come to regret later on. For indeed, as the Holy Quran states, do the people think that they will be left to say we believe and they will not be tested? Do we have the insight to understand the needs and priorities of our time? Do we have the insight to assist the Hussein of our time? Do we have the insight to do Hussein's work? Are we really doing Hussein's work? Would we pass the test? Would we keep to our oaths and our promises, even if it means our death? O Allah, allow us the courage to assist and follow the Hussein of our time, wherever he may be, wherever he may lead us, by whichever road, no matter how dangerous or unpopular. Allow us the vision and keenness to follow in his footsteps. Grant us the insight to appreciate and to act upon the true needs of our time, and allow us to get our priorities in order, even if it means breaking away from the crowd and doing the unexpected. Salawat. On this day, we are honored that our friend and esteemed scholar, Sheikh Jaffer Laddak, has joined us. Inshallah, he can prepare us for the Muharram to come and also read us the Musibah of the Ahlul Bayt. So please welcome him with the loudest of your voices and the warmest of your salawats.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Please open your Qur'ans on your phones to chapter number 11, Surah Hud, verse number 88. Chapter number 11, Surah Hud, verse number 88. And if you have the ayah accessible in the Majlis, insha'Allah, we will refer back to it. For the love of our fifth holy Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, one loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. And for the love of the ambassador of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqeel, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the appearance of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Alhamdulillahi alladhi hadana lihadha. وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين سيد الممجد بشير المصدق المصطفى الأمجد محمود الأحمد أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة الله على الظالمين من الأولين والآخرين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة من ربي ورزقني منه رزقا حسنا وما أريد أن أخالفكم إلى ما أنهاكم عنه إن أريد إلا الإصلاح ما استطعت وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Awaited Savior of humanity, Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, my respected teachers, elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On a day like this, 1385 years ago, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam has to break his Hajj. More than 24 assassins enter into Masjid al-Haram in order to be able to slaughter the grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Haram of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Imam alayhi salam breaks his Hajj, and the first place he goes to is Masjid Tan'im. As he reaches there is a caravan that approaches in the same direction towards him. And as he stops the caravan and inquires what is in this caravan, he is told that there are luxurious goods, robes, fit for a king that is destined to be able to reach the tyrant of the time, Yazid ibn Muawiyah, la'natullahi alayhima. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam takes hold of this caravan and he gives them certain options. He says, whoever wants to leave may leave. Whoever wants to join me may join me. And whoever wants their wages, I will pay them their wages. But these items, these goods, cannot reach Yazid ibn Muawiyah. How can it be that when there is such poverty and wealth, that people are allowed to be able to dress with this luxury and this level of fashion? And then he takes hold of the caravan to distribute those robes amongst the people who are needy. If you have worked until now, you will be paid your wage, and from this caravan I will pay you your wage. Or you may leave, or you may join me. After taking hold of this caravan, he then departs, and he now goes to an area called Safa. As he goes there, he meets with the master poet. As you just heard from Sayyid Musa, he meets with a poet who is often known to recite even on behalf of the Ummah, the name of. There's a conversation that I want to use as the platform for tonight's discussion, and to be able to help us to think about our own preparation for the month of Muharram, the Ummah's preparation for the month of Muharram, and maybe in light of the world that we have begun to see being reshaped in front of our eyes over the last 9 months, what does it mean for us with this upcoming Muharram, inshaAllah? Imam alayhi salam meets with this master poet, And the narrations are slightly different, but the skeleton of what was said is the same. In one narration, it mentions that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam asks for Laddak. He says to him, what do you see is the situation? What is the attitude of the people? And in one response, the hadith says, Laddak replies with, قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَكْ وَأَيْدِيهِمْ عَلَيْكَ. Their hearts are with you, but their hands are against you. This is one version. Another version slightly changes it. He says to him, what is your opinion? What do you see as the situation? قُلْتُ أَمَّا الْقُلُوبِ فَمَعَكَ. As for the hearts of the people, they are with you. وَأَمَّا السُّيُوفُ فَمَعَ بَنِي أُمَيَّةَ. But as for their swords, those are with Banu Umayyah. وَالنَّصْرُ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. But remember, the help is with Allah. The victory comes with whom? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam alayhi salam responds with the following. مَا أَرَاكَ إِلَّا صَدَقْتَ. I don't see anything other than the truth of what you have said. النَّاسُ عَبِيدُ الْمَالِ. People are servants, slaves to wealth. وَالدِّينُ لَغْوٌ عَلَىٰ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. And deen is nothing more than something vain upon their tongues. It's something that they're willing to talk about. It's something that it's hatchy for them. It's discussion and a bit of banter and jokes. It's something that they will talk about, but when it comes to act, it's not there. الناس عبيد المال والدين لغو على ألسنتهم يحوطونه ما درت به معايشهم فإذا محس للابتلاء قل الديانون. They surround it so long as they live their lives, but when there is trial and they are really expected to be judged in the moment, قل الديانون. Very, very few religious people will remain. What an intense statement from Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Their hearts are with you, but their hands are against you. Or nay, even worse, their swords are actually against you. In my words, when push comes to shove, you will find very, very few people are ready and willing to be able to stand up. The crux of this hadith tells us that there is an obvious difference between what lies within the heart and what actually manifests itself as action. A person can have something in their heart. They can be with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam inside. Their ideology, their mindset, their intention aligns with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it will manifest itself in the same action. In fact, as per the end of the hadith, قَلَّ الدَّيَّانُونَ. When push comes to shove and really the test falls upon people, very few people will actually stand up. That's the prediction of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, or the criticism. Why? What is the pivot? What is the middle point that brings this all together? Number one, for many people, wealth, ease, luxury, safety and security will come ahead of their willingness to put themselves forward. And number two, deen is nothing more than something that should be talked about. It's something on the tongues. So in order to be able to move it from heart to action, and not being amongst a very minor few that are genuinely willing to put themselves on the line, the middle point, the pivot is what? To ensure that I am not overwhelmed and overcome by luxury, by ease, and I don't allow deen to be something that just comes from the tongue. As long as I can shift these two things, it is more likely that I will be able to ensure that what is in the heart aligns with the actions, and I am not amongst a very small number of the few. Fine. This is something easy again to talk about. Even just this discussion is something on the tongue. Even talking about not talking is something that we talk about. It's something on the tongue. But if you take a step back, you will actually see that the vast majority of this Muslim Ummah's problem is the very same as what is being stated by Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam 1385 years ago. It's not only individuals that have to choose between what lies in the heart and what manifests itself in actions. It is entire communities and even nations that now have to decide the difference between what lies in their heart and what manifests itself in actions. Across the Ummah, we have Muslim nations that are being pulled between haqq and batil. Many Muslim nations, they don't have a sense of themselves. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know where their community is going. And even in these moments, this hadith is actually alive and playing on the conscience of the Muslim Ummah. Think about how many Muslim countries we have. The people amongst them, what do they want? And what do their leaderships want? Think about how many Muslim countries actually, their hearts, many of the people, they're in a good place. But actually, if you see the outcomes and the choices of those countries, their swords today are against the Imam of their time. I'm going to come back to this in a few minutes' time, inshallah. The question of the heart and the manifestation of the heart, and that difficulty that lies in between the two of those, is not only something that individuals have, but communities and nations. In the Quran, you will find that the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are constantly inviting their communities, I emphasize here, communities, to reform themselves and be ready for the migration, the change between what is in their hearts to what is in action. And the pivot of this is again the same statement of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. When Imam departs the city of Medina al-Munawwara for the last time, he has this famous slogan that underscores the entirety of his movement. إني لم أخرج أشرا ولا بطرا ولا مفسدا ولا ظالما وإنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح في أمة جدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. I am not rising against the tyrant Yazid because I want fame or I'm doing this for folly and fun. I'm not doing this because I will seek power and position, or I want to become an oppressor. I am rising for one reason and one reason only, and that is reform in the ummah of my grandfather. So his goal was to get people to change. Look at the two hadith together. For Laddak says what? Their hearts are with you, but their hands and swords are against you. And on the other hand, Imam alayhi salam says, all I seek is reform. So is he seeking to reform their hearts or their actions? Which one? Their hearts are whom? With whom? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. But their swords and their actions are with Banu Umayyah. So when he says, I am seeking reform, is he seeking to reform their hearts or is he seeking to reform their actions? Ahsant. You put these two hadith together, you do jam'ah of these two narrations, famous accepted narrations. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is not saying that the problem is in the hearts of the people necessarily. They listened to Imam, they understood Imam, they wanted to be with Imam. Some of them even went with Imam, but they left him. It was the issue that when push came to shove, when the real metal was tested, that next step they were unwilling to take. قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَكَ وَسَيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْكَ. So we have to realize that the mission of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam has not solely the idea of reforming the hearts. All of us here, the fact that you've attended a pre-Muharram Majlis is sufficient to prove to me and to yourself that the heart is already in the right place. You wouldn't be taking time out of your busy lives, your schedule, to attend a pre-Muharram Majlis if you did not love Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, did not love Muslim ibn Aqeel, did not love Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. That is not in question for me and for you. The question is not whether I'm going to give my time, because many of you here have already committed to being volunteers for the upcoming Muharram Majlis. So that can't be the action that is the test, because we're already there. There is something greater, that when the difficulty, the pressure comes from the tyrant, when misinformation comes, ambiguities come, when we are not sure what the path is, when we are pressured by the taghi of the time to make decisions, that is when the switch comes. And even though the hearts are with Hussein, the actions are not. There's something that happens in between. What does Imam state? An-nas abidul mal. Or in another hadith, An-nas abidul dunya. It is that comfort and ease that overcomes, that worry about putting ourselves in danger that overcomes, and it is the issue of what? Allowing deen to be nothing more than on the tongue. Please open your Qur'ans to Surah Hud, chapter number 11, verse number 88. And I want to show you how the Qur'an frames this. And then inshaAllah we go a little bit further into some ahadith and then reflect a bit more on some of these matters. Everybody has the ayah open inshaAllah? You can all see it. You can Google it on your phones. If you have your Qur'an apps, you can open them and read the ayah together. This is a very interesting ayah. This is a prophet of Allah. This is actually Shu'aib alayhi salam speaking to his own community in Madian. Okay? Who is talking, Prophet? Shu'aib alayhi salam. He is addressing his community. Qala Ya qawmi. Remember I said the issue of the migration between the heart and the actions, sometimes at the individual level, sometimes at the communal level, and sometimes even at the national level. And we'll talk about the national level in a bit. So we've talked about the individual a little bit. When push comes to shove, we have to make sure that our act is in line with our heart. Now look at what he says about the qawm, the collective community. You can say 404, you can say Bab al-Ilm Masjid in Leeds, you could say Manchester, the Northwest, qawm, community. قال عليه السلام يا قومي أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة من ربي ورزقني منه رزقا حسنا. Now you may have a translation there, and the translation may not give the full verse. Actually, at the end of the verse, there's something that needs to be there in brackets. So I'll explain to you the translation a little bit here. My community. If you know, if you see that I am on bayyinah, I am on clear evidence and truth, I'm on the path of what is right. In kuntu ala bayyinatin min rabbi, from my Lord, wa razaqani minhu rizqan hasana, and He has given to me a rizq which is rizqan hasana. The end of the ayah, it's supposed to be something in brackets. Because the next part of the ayah continues, وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ, doesn't make sense. The thing that's supposed to be there is this. O my community, if you know that I am on the truth and given a rizqan hasana from God, what's in brackets is, how do you expect me to turn away from the truth that I know I am on? That part is it's not mentioned explicitly. It's a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical trope that's being used in the Quran, but that's the meaning of the ayah. Shu'aib alayhi salam is asking his community, if I know I am on haqq, how do you expect me to live on anything other than haqq? Look at the realm of a prophet. He is saying, I know truth, it's in my heart, but it's not enough. The fact that you oppose me, it doesn't stop me from doing what I want to do. The fact that I know I am on bayyinah, does that mean that I don't act according to it? The daraja, the realm of a prophet, is to ensure that belief and amal are always in sync with one another and not separated from one another. There's one thing, your heart being on truth, but how can you expect me to act other than on truth? It is prophetic to ensure. Again, look at how belief and action, speech and action have to be in tandem with one another at every point. And I don't intend to oppose you, to tell you to stop doing something, except that I myself am going to stop doing it. There's no gap between the two. There's no hypocrisy. If I, the Prophet, tell you not to do something, it's because I am also not going to be doing that act. If I tell you to do something, I am also going to be doing that thing. There is no gap between speech and action. Can you see this ayah? Continue the ayah. In uridu illa al-islah mastata'tu. And I don't intend for anything other than reform, except to the capacity of which I am capable of bringing it about. I want to bring change, reform. Now think about this very carefully. In this ayah, the first part of the ayah, أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِن كُنْتُ عَلَى بَيِّنَةٍ مِّن رَبِّي وَرَزَقَنِي مِنْهُ رِزْقًا حَسَنًا. Is this about heart or is this about action? If I am on truth and I know that I am on bayyinah, how do you expect me to do anything other than this? Is it heart or is it action? Action. Second part of the ayah, وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ إِلَى مَا أَنْهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ. and I don't stop you from doing anything that I've already said that I need to stop, and I don't tell you to do something other than I know that I have to do it as well. Is this heart or is this action? Ahsant, it's action. Now look at the next part of the other third. In uridu illa al-islah mastata'tu. I don't want any reform except what I am capable of bringing about. The context of this verse of even Shu'aib alayhi salam, is he seeking islah in the heart only, or is he seeking islah in the action? Heart or action? Heart or action? Action. The prophetic demand for islah was action. The Husseini demand for islah was action as well. I know that your hearts are with me, but what I'm worried about is your hands are against me. In uridu illa al-islah mastata'tu wa ma tawfiqi illa billah. Can I bring this about myself? No. There is no success and divine opportunity other than with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what do? Alayhi tawakkaltu. Upon Him do I rely. Wa ilayhi unib. And upon Allah do I return. Even the Quran and the movement of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam draws upon a very important distinguishing feature here. That islah is not necessarily about only what reforms the hearts, but actually reforms the actions. There is the reform of the action of the individual. There is the reform of the action of the community, Ya qawmi. And then there is also even the reform of the action of the nation as well. The challenge we have across the Muslim world is often not the challenge of the hearts. How many millions of people are going to be in Hajj? How many millions of people are going to be in Ziyarah? But there is something more that is being demanded. Look at the Muslim world today. This statement, their hearts are with you, but their swords are against you, could not be a truer depiction of the Muslim world today. You have some Muslim countries that are fighting for truth, justice, fighting against oppression. Muslim countries. Their mantra, their existence, their national challenges are rooted because they are fighting injustice, wherever it may be. And then there are some Muslim countries that are on the opposite side. They are actually with Batil itself. They are actually the flag bearers of Batil itself. They are the Yazids of the time. They are Banu Umayyah today. And then you have some Muslim countries that are in the middle. And both sides are pulling them. And many a time, their hearts are with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. But on a practical level, their militaries, their economies are actually with Banu Umayyah. Turkey, Pakistan, other countries, mu'mineen, many millions, but they're pulled on both sides. One country wants them to go this way, another country wants them to go that way. One country will pull them this way, and America pulls them this way. One country pulls them this way, Israel pulls them this way. They don't know where they stand. The choice is upon them. Subhanallah. Has the choice ever been more clear for them? It's very interesting, isn't it? If you really think about the Muslim Ummah, there are certain nations that are teetering. They don't know which way they want to go. The problem is that even when your heart is here, but your swords are here, you still end up destroying the Hussein of your time. You all remember that famous statement from Abu Hurairah. You all heard of Abu Hurairah, right? Very famous rawi of certain ahadith. Do you remember that famous statement? Someone came to him and said, "Oh Abu Hurairah, we see you sometimes with Imam Ali alayhi salam and sometimes with Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. We don't understand. How can you be with both?" Abu Hurairah responded with a very famous statement. Have you come across this? He said, "Salah with Ali is good, but food with Muawiyah is also good." So when it comes to spirituality, I very much enjoy with Imam Ali alayhi salam. Who wouldn't want to pray salah behind Ali ibn Abi Talib? But the sustenance that I put into my body, when I want to have ease and enjoyment and entertainment, I spend my time with Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Can you be with both sides? قُلُوبُكُمْ مَعَ وَصُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْهِ. You can't be both your heart with Hussein, but your sword against him. You can't be having salah with Ali and food with Muawiyah. There is a clear problem here, that you're enjoying both sides, but when push comes to shove, you will end up choosing Muawiyah. You will end up choosing Banu Umayyah, because it doesn't work like switching a light on. And there are many nations, Muslim nations, that have to make this choice as well. Just because your hearts are with Hussein salamullahi alayhi, when the countdown comes and the Imam comes on that Friday and you are asked to decide where your military lies, where your loyalties lie, where your wealth lies. If for the last 50 and 100 years you've been siding with Banu Umayyah, believe me, on that day you will not be able to change and all of a sudden side with the Hussein of your time. You know why? Because the proof is in the pudding with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Their hearts were with Hussein. They wrote letters to Hussein. They invited his Safir. They made sure that he was safe. But the moment the first letter came from Ibn Ziyad and stated, anyone who is seen with Muslim ibn Aqeel, you and your families will be arrested, your wealth will be taken away, you will be imprisoned, you may even be martyred and killed. He had 18,000 people performing salah behind him is Salat al-Maghrib. By the time he played Salat al-Isha, he had but a handful of people. When push comes to shove, it doesn't ask you where only your heart is, it asks you where your actions are. So do you think now, with all the history that you know, with all of the examples that you have in front of you, when the Quran is telling you Islah is not only on your heart, but it needs to be proven in amal. When Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says Islah is not only in the heart, but in amal. When you see what happened to Muslim ibn Aqeel, do we as individuals think that Islah, this movement of Hussein salamullahi alayhi, is only about what is happening in here? That it's only about crying or ma'tam or showing up to the Husayniyah? Is that what the measurement is? No. When push comes to shove and you're being asked to make a choice, a difficult choice, that's when the proof in the pudding comes. And the same thing is for communities, and the same thing is for nations. When the 12th comes and all along these armies and these economies have been supporting Israel and America and Al Saud, where will Pakistan be? Where will Turkey be? Where will Azerbaijan be? Where will the UAE be? It's one thing having all these beautiful masajid and these adhans and say, oh, we have Sharia compliant banking, mashallah alayh. Maybe قلوبهم معه وسيوفهم عليه. Every time push comes to shove, that is when you see really where people stand. And that's the difference. And that is the difference, inshallah, between you and them. Because it's not only that your hearts are with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, but your actions and sacrifice and willingness to be able to live the movement of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in your own context, in your own times. But don't think that that hadith is not alive. Everything can be judged by that hadith, that their hearts are with you, but their swords are against you. And you can judge where people are at. You can judge where communities are at. You can judge where nations are at by that statement of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. So now, think about this as a question. Let us say it is this Friday that the Hussein of your time rises. Ajjalallahu ta'ala faraj al-sharif. What do you think will happen? Be very honest. Just think about this for a second. Do you think that the governments of your country will treat the Hussein of your time as the awaited savior? Or will they try to persecute him like Hussein of 1400 years ago? Which one? Which one? And if Hussein of your time rises in Mecca and he calls people towards him, do you think the Ibn Ziyads of your country are going to treat you like Muslim ibn Aqeel? Or are they going to tell you, yeah, get on the next flight and go? Do you understand? Do you think the Hussein of your time is going to be a welcomed hero, or will he be labeled as a terrorist? Those who follow the Hussein of their time, will you be labeled as a hero, or will you be labeled as a terrorist? What do you think? So when you try to support the Imam of your time, do you understand the extent of what the pressure is going to be on you? Have you thought about it? Do you think the story of Muslim ibn Aqeel is a fairy tale? Or do you understand that it is a mirror of what is to occur to you? The moment you want to rise for the Hussein of your time, the same letter of Ibn Ziyad is going to be read out on BBC and on Sky News and everywhere else. You're the extremist. And if you try to move, maybe you will be arrested, maybe your family will be arrested, maybe your bank account will be stopped, maybe your passport will be taken from you. I don't know. But do you really think it's going to be easy? Has there been a time, any time when any prophet has come or any imam has come and the movement of their companions has just been easy? Or have they had to sacrifice, fight, struggle, die for the movement? Which one? Was it easy with the Prophet in Mecca? Do you remember the story of Bilal al-Habashi? Do you remember the story of Bilal al-Habashi? You've seen the film The Message. Have you seen the film The Message? Bilal al-Habashi was laid out on the floor, burning sands of Hijaz, under the midday sun, and a giant rock placed upon his chest. And they told him, forget your God. Go back to our gods. Come back to Lat and Uzza and Manat. What did he say? One, one, one. And then after that punishment, they took him on all fours and made him, they took a rope around his neck dragged him in the streets of Mecca and told the children of the Quraysh, hurl stones at him. And then after that, they kicked him into the pens of the sheep and told him, sleep and eat with the sheep, and tomorrow we will restart this torture upon you. Was it easy with the Prophet in Mecca? Was it easy with the Prophet in Medina? Was it easy with Ali ibn Abi Talib in Kufa? Was it easy with Hassan ibn Ali in Kufa? Was it easy with Hussein ibn Ali in Mecca? Was it easy with Hussein ibn Ali in Kufa? So tell me, do you think it's going to be easy when the Imam of your time comes? If he was to come this Friday, what do you genuinely expect is going to be the level of pressure upon you and me and upon your families and upon my families, upon your properties, upon mine, upon your bank account, on your investments, on your ISAs? What do you think? قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَهُ وَصُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْهِ. But don't worry. Look forward to it. What did the Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salam say? Tawakkaltu alayh. I trust in Allah, He's going to help me. But it doesn't happen with a light switch. And as much as individuals are going to be tested, and communities are going to be tested, nations are going to be tested, and the decision has to be whether it's simply the hearts are with Imam or whether it manifests into action as well. It could be next Muharram that the Imam comes. This could be our last Muharram without Imam by our side. And these months that are going to be ahead of us can be the training ground for what is to come next. In the last 8 months since the genocide started in occupied Palestine, look how much the world has changed. Can you imagine how much the world can change in the next 12 months? قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَهُ وَسُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْهِ. I want you to imagine Muslim ibn Aqeel alayhi salam having to run from street to street, trying to avoid the gangs and the army of Ibn Ziyad in the street of Kufa. And I want you to think about the panic in the heart of Muslim ibn Aqeel. I want you to think about the thirst of Muslim ibn Aqeel. This is the darkness of the night, and he can hear the groups calling for him, breaking open the doors of the houses of the Shia, the screams of women and children being woken up in the night as they raid house to house to house, looking for the ambassador of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. I want you to imagine the fear of him, and then I want you to realize this, that the fear of Muslim ibn Aqeel was not him being killed, but his message not receiving Hussein in time, and that Hussein comes to this sort of Kufa that has gone under this tumult, that has changed 180 degrees. I am the one who told my Imam to come to Kufa. What happens if my Imam comes to Kufa and there are 18,000 swords? Little did he know that it was not going to be in Kufa, but it was going to be these swords that came from Kufa to Karbala that would end up tearing the body of his master limb to limb. Eventually, Muslim ibn Aqeel slumps, tired, fatigued at the door of a lady, a Shia of Imam alayhi salam. She opens the door and she says to him, "Oh man, you are a strange man. You are not my family or mahram. It is inappropriate that a man like you is sitting at my door at night. Besides, don't you know that the armies of Ibn Ziyad are seeking Muslim ibn Aqeel? It is not safe for you to be sat outside my door." Muslim says to her, "Oh lady, I am Muslim ibn Aqeel. Please, is there any shelter that you can give me? Any space that I can rest and hide from these people?" The lady of the house allows him to be able to enter, and he takes a room and he spends the last hours of his life in worship. It is said that he falls asleep for a few minutes, and in his dream he actually sees Imam Ali alayhi salam saying to him, "Oh Muslim, come to us, come to us. We have prepared for you in Jannah this space with us." Muslim wakens to hear the noise outside the house where he is staying. Why? That the son of this lady has actually informed the armies of Yazid that Muslim ibn Aqeel is inside. Their hearts are with you, but their swords are actually against you. The son of a Shia lady, no less. He goes to Ibn Ziyad and says, "Muslim is in my house. Give me the reward for selling out the ambassador of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam." What happens? He exits. He says to the lady, he says, "It is great. I am grateful that you have looked after me, but I cannot allow your house to be attacked. So I want to be able to leave." As he leaves the house and he stands outside, there is a skirmish that takes place. Eventually, they say to him, "Oh Muslim, we guarantee you safe passage. We guarantee you your security. Just come with us." It is said that either he puts away his sword or he is tricked into this, but nevertheless they grab Muslim ibn Aqeel. One narration says that they actually dug a small ditch, that as he walked towards them and fought to them, he actually fell into this ditch. They pelted him with their stones, they threw what they had at him, and they dragged Muslim ibn Aqeel to the palace of Ibn Ziyad. I want you to imagine this man actually on the floor in front of Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad looking over him. Imagine the way they treated him. Imagine the way they beat him and they swore at him and they abused him. And then Muslim ibn Aqeel turns to him and he says to him, "Before you kill me, I want you to be able to hear my 3 wasaya." What are these wasaya that you have? The first and most important thing is that you send a message to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Tell him what has happened in Kufa and that he does not come here. The second is that I want you to sell my sword and my shield. I have accumulated some debts whilst I am here. I want you to sell my belongings and pay off my debts. The third is that I want you to give me a proper burial. I want you to give me a Muslim burial with my coffin. I want a proper janazah. They said to him that as for the first, we will never accept this condition. We will not tell Hussein about what has occurred. As for your second and your third conditions, we will give them to you. Do you know how much of a liar they were? That they didn't give him his proper burial. They took him to the roof of the palace. If you have been to Kufa, take yourself to that place where it is said that he was thrown from. They took him to the roof of the palace. I want you to imagine that at this moment he turns towards Mecca and he says, "Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. I am the one who told you to come, that I have prepared the community for your welcome. We will rise with you, but this community has turned against you. Oh Hussein, do not come to Kufa, for you do not know what they have prepared for you. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah." They cut off the head of Muslim ibn Aqeel. They threw his body on the ground. They left his body on the trash piles of Kufa. They then took his body and they put it with horses and they dragged the body of Muslim ibn Aqeel through the streets of Kufa. Then they sent the head of Muslim ibn Aqeel to Yazid ibn Muawiyah in Damascus. We are told in some narrations that when the news of Muslim's death reached Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he came to the daughter of a Muslim. This young girl was maybe 5 or 7 or 8 years old. It is said that her name was Lady Hamida. He comes and sits down beside this daughter of Hazrat Muslim and begins to stroke her face with empathy. He says to him, "Oh Imam, why are you doing this? I never see you do this action except when someone is an orphan. What has happened to my father Muslim ibn Aqeel?" The scholars say, they recite the poetry that Imam responded by saying, "From now on you are my daughter, and it is my sons that are going to be your brothers. We will look after you at this time." We will say, "Oh Hussein, if this is how you treated the daughter of Muslim, what happened? How did they treat your daughter Ruqayya when they entered into the camps and they set the camps alight and they slapped her across the face and they snatched at her veil and they tore her earrings from her ears and then they placed her in chains and then they whipped her and lashed her until she fell into her own death inside the prisons of Sham." ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلمون ظلم أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ماتم حسين يا حسين يا حسين. يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين
मुसलमान बहाने न बुलाया है मुसलमान 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 करके कत्ल मनाए करके कत्ल मनाई कि ईद मुसलमाना मुसलमान बहाने न बुलाया है मुसलमाना मुसलमान बहाने न बुलाया है मुसलमाना بی رقیہ رو رو عباس نوے آخری لے آوے لال میرے ویرن تو کوفے جا کے سیدانو بچ سفر دے رلایا اے مسلمانا مسلم نو بہانے نہ بھلایا اے مسلمانا مسلم نو بہانے نہ بھلایا اے مسلمانا کرب و بلا دے راہ وچ مسلم دی خبر آئی مسلم دی شہادت تے مولا کمر جھکائی میت نو وچ بازاراں پھرایا اے مسلمانا مسلم نو بہانے نہ بھلایا اے مسلمانا نو بہانے نہ بھلایا اے مسلمانا عباس دلاور نے کیویں ویکھیا سی منظر سر تن تو جدا ہویا کیویں کیتا سی صبر غازی تیرے صبر نو آزمایا مسلمانا مسلم نو بہانے نہ بھلایا اے مسلمان